What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another highly combustible reaction. We're going to be jumping into something else kind of cool on our Netherlands journey. This is Why Isn't the Netherlands Underwater by Stefan a Ted Ed, it looks like. So, hey, you love it on the request form? I'm cool if it's not music. I'm cool with that, totally. So let's jump in. Let's find out. We know that the Netherlands isn't underwater because of the dike system and things like that they built. We've already learned that. But let's get into some more detail. Let's jump in. Someone requested it, so someone's waiting on it. Let's not leave them waiting.
In January of 1953, a tidal surge shook the North Sea. The titanic waves flooded the Dutch coastline, killing almost 2,000 people.
Jesus.
54 years
2,000?
later, a similar storm threatened the region. But this time, the Netherlands were ready. As the water swelled, state-of-the-art computer sensors activated emergency protocols. Over the next 30 minutes, a pair of 240-meter steel arms swung shut, protecting the channel ahead. Using 680-ton ball joints, the barrier moved in rhythm with the shifting wind and waves. By morning, the storm had passed with minimal flooding. The first field activation of the maeslantkering had been a resounding success.
Genius. I've never seen something like that. Like, I've seen a drawbridge, but I've never seen like a wave breaker wall that can just close on. That's like your own drawbridge against the water enemy. Come on.
Field activation of the maeslantkering had been a resounding success. As one of the planet's largest mobile structures, this storm surge barrier is a marvel of human engineering. But the maeslantkering is just one part of a massive interlocking system of water controls known as the Delta Works, the most sophisticated flood prevention project in the world.
Ooh.
The Netherlands has a long history with water management. The country lies along the delta of 3 major European rivers, and nearly a quarter of its territory is below sea level.
Yeah.
This geography makes the region extremely prone to flooding, so much so that some of the earliest Dutch governing bodies were informal water boards that coordinated flood protection projects. But after the storms of
That's actually impressive that, like, right from the jump they said, yo, the first thing we need is someone to deal with this water stuff. Like, we got to figure out a way. But we also know that they went and they reclaimed back their territory from Poseidon himself. Like, so
that coordinated flood protection projects. But after the storms of 1953, the Dutch government took more official measures. They established the Delta Commission and tasked them with protecting the entire southwestern region. Focusing on densely populated cities, their aim was to reduce the annual odds of flooding below 1 in 10,000, about 100.
Below 1 in 10,000?
Annual odds of flooding below 1 in 10,000, about 100 times as safe as the average coastal city. Accomplishing this lofty goal required various infrastructure projects along the southwestern coast. The first line of defense was to dam the region's flood-prone estuaries. These large inlets fed many of the country's rivers into the North Sea, and during storms, they allowed floodwater to surge inland. Using a series of dams, the Delta Commission transformed these estuaries into expansive lakes that serve as nature preserves and community parks. However, this solution wouldn't work for the nieuwe waterweg. As the lifeblood of the local shipping industry, this passage had to be kept open in safe conditions and barricaded during storm surges. In 1998, the completed maeslantkering provided the flexible protection necessary. Alongside additional barriers like grassy dikes and concrete seawalls, these fortifications made up the bulk of the Delta Works project, which was primarily focused on holding back ocean storms. But in the following decades, the Dutch pursued additional plans to complement the Delta Works and protect against floods further inland. Under the Room for the River plan, farms and dikes were relocated away from the shore. This left more space for water to collect in low-lying floodplains, creating reservoirs and habitats for local wildlife.
That's smart.
This strategic retreat not only decreased flood risk, but allowed for the redeveloped settlements to be built more densely and sustainably. Perhaps no city embodies the Netherlands' multi-pronged approach to water management as much as Rotterdam, a thriving city almost in.
We did a walk through Rotterdam earlier on today. If you haven't seen that yet, it's over on Simple Reacts channel. Definitely go give it a look. Me, him, and Alan did another triple reaction to that one. It was definitely an artful city. It was definitely a city that not normal minds or very creative minds built, which I can totally appreciate, because in America, everything is cookie cutter. Everything is the same. When they build a new division, you literally have like 3 floor plans to choose from, and they're all the same. So I think it's very, very cool that they had all the crazy architecture and cube rooms and things like that. Hey, it shows that, hey, they've learned to adapt to their environments too. With all of the water stuff, like if they hadn't figured that part out, none of that other stuff would be possible. So like when it comes to the water thing, I'm saying if I ever have any issues around my house, I'm calling one of my Dutch friends to help me build a dike. Like that's as simple as it gets.
And sustainably. Perhaps no city embodies the Netherlands' multi-pronged approach to water management as much as Rotterdam, a thriving city almost entirely below sea level. When a storm threatens densely populated older districts,
look at that. Look at how terrifying that is. The water is just literally right there. Like,
are protected by traditional dikes. Meanwhile, newer districts have been artificially elevated, often sporting green roofs that store rainwater. Numerous structures around the city transform into water storage facilities, including parking garages and plazas, which normally serve as theaters and sports arenas. Meanwhile, in the harbor, floating pavilions rise with the water level.
And the
These
floating
are the
forest?
first of several planned amphibious structures, some of which house water purification systems and solar collectors. These strategies are just some of the technologies and policies that have put the Netherlands at the cutting edge of water management. The country continues to find new ways to make cities more resilient to natural disasters. And as the rising sea levels caused by climate change threaten low-lying cities across the world, the Netherlands offers an exceptional example of how to go with the flow.
No kidding. If everybody that doesn't have a seaside country hasn't at least looked at the Netherlands water management plans, they probably should jump on that.
Example of how to go with the flow. As climate change causes natural disasters to become more, well, disastrous, how can we build smarter, more resilient cities and towns? Explore how we use physics to create flexible buildings that can withstand earthquakes, or how scientists are experimenting with a form of concrete that can heal itself.
Very interesting. There you have it. Why isn't the Netherlands underwater? Because they're water geniuses. That's the final answer. Like, if they really have developed this whole crazy ass system that everybody is super, super trusting in, which is awesome. Because if they did that stuff in America, I'd be like, I don't know if I trust y'all. I don't know if it's going to hold. I don't know if it's going to fall. But the Netherlands has been looking at the water thing since they got there. So they had to get it figured out. They got it figured out. Everybody needs to use them as an example on more stuff than just turning the curry orange. Like, we need some water management, people. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Go show the original poster some love. I'm going to leave the channel down inside the description. Until the next one, I'm highly combustible. You guys be happy, healthy, safe. I love you to the moon and back. Peace.